What's up, y'all? I'm going to be coaching Chris Moneymaker. That's right, the WSOP World Champ, the OG champ who's so responsible for getting so many of us into poker. I've been coaching him for a few months now, and we both got deep in the 1K ACR 300K guarantee last Sunday. I got 5th place for about 30K. He got 6th place. We had a bunch of interesting ICM spots. We battled some big hands out against each other. So we're going to be reviewing the hand histories live. There's going to be a bunch of great info. So let's get to it.
What's up, everybody? Chris Moneymaker here. So today we're going to be doing a coaching seminar with Faraz Jaka. Faraz is the WPT Player of the Year in 2010. He has over 10 million in earnings. Just a phenomenal poker player. Every time while I was, since the quarantine went down, started playing a lot on America's Card Room. And every time I was making a deep run, I kept seeing this toilet there. And I knew the toilet played on Poker Stars back in the day, and he was always at the final tables as well. So I knew he was a good player, and I've known him personally too from just playing on the circuit. But since I've been on ACR, I keep seeing him making final tables. And whenever I go to pick a coach, I want someone that's currently doing very well. And he was always a crusher back in the day, but when I'm on ACR and I'm trying to get better, I look for people that are doing well now. And he's doing well now. He's a great coach. He's helped me out a lot. And let's just have some fun with it, learn some poker. You get to sort of see a little bit behind the scenes of what I go through when, I'm trying to get better. If you're not trying to get better in this game, you're going to fall behind. So let's listen to Faraz and let's try to learn.
Looks like you 4-bet the spot. Any particular thoughts you had here, or just kind of coming into the table, guns blazing, or anything you want to share about your thought process here?
Really, the thought process here is whenever I'm starting out in the tournament, I like to set precedent on respecting me and leaving me alone, playing my position, play aggressively. I do know Piggy Glacier, whatever, was 3-betting pretty actively. I decided this was a pretty good spot if they're going to be 3-betting that often to go ahead and take a 4-bet. King 10, it's a hand I like 4-betting. I can figure out real quick if I'm up against Ace King, or if I get called, it's going to play pretty well post flop in position. So
got it. I love the thing about setting the precedent at the table. That's totally something I do. I do it a lot more live when I know everybody's paying attention. Online on Sundays, it's kind of hit or miss. Like, I don't know if these guys are actually watching that closely yet. That said, in terms of the blockers here, I would prefer this a lot better if we had King Queen suited, King Jack suited maybe, because the thing is, this deep, he's not really 3-betting pocket 10s here very often. He's probably mostly flatting it. He might even be flatting jacks, right? So we just want to make sure we're blocking his value range. So I'd say having a queen, king, and ace are like the really important cards. I won't say I've never done this because I like to do some crazy shit, and the more I get to know you, you do as well. But unless I had like a really strong read, which is probably going to be live or something like that, I probably would do this with like king, queen suited, ace, queen suited, maybe like ace, queen off if I'm really pushing at something like that. Yeah. So just making sure both of those blockers count really matters. If everybody was a little later position, now he would be 3-betting pocket 10s, and now our 10 blocker would matter a little more. Does that make sense?
It definitely makes sense.
Looks like you got aces, next hand you played, and we're filtering through just the hands Chris played, so we're skipping the folds, of course. So we get squeezed over here. Yeah, I like the call. I don't think there's a lot of reason to 4-bet here. If we 4-bet, we're pretty much committed. We can't really 4-bet fold, so we're really jamming here. So it's really the option between jamming or calling. And I would be much more interested in jamming something like queens or kings that needs a little bit more protection. Whereas aces just like, yeah, we're just crushing them so hard that I'm happy flatting here. Another reason I'm jamming kings here is I really don't want to call and have this guy coming behind. Kings is an amazing hand heads up, but kings 3-way out of position, it's not so great of a hand anymore. So definitely like your decision to flat the aces here. I like the call again for similar reasons. I don't think I have much of a raising range. If I did, I'd choose kings before this one. Here, so yeah, just an interesting spot. We could check, we could bet. It looks like our opponent could have some sort of queen X or pocket kings here. we could be turning some smaller pairs into a bluff. So I could go either way here with a check or a bet. Faraz, can you explain more on being deep late and needing to fold more? Does the buy-in influence a lot in the bubble management? A bunch of these guys. And so yeah, I'll talk maybe about the deep stuff when we get deeper, because I think it'll naturally come up. In terms of the buy-in influencing a lot of bubble management, yeah, definitely. So ideally, you're playing in tournaments where the money doesn't matter to you, so you're able to play optimal. But the reality is, we all like to go for shots, even myself. So when we find ourselves in those situations, yes, sometimes it does make sense to make a decision that's not optimal because the money means so much to you. It's just such a large percentage of your bankroll. So that is reasonable to kind of take non-optimal decisions sometimes because of that. But ideally, you just want to avoid putting yourself in that situation. I tend to just ignore it. I never really think about the money. That way I can just stay cold-blooded and just go for it. And then after the event, I'm like, holy shit, I just fucking bluffed off what's a lot of money, a huge equity spot for myself. So it's always ideal if you could ignore that and play optimal. You got to take your personal kind of finances into account sometimes, unfortunately. And then, yeah, you want to think about other players, right? That's the bigger thing for me. Who is this a big buy-in for, right? So if you know that this player is a low stakes player, they satellited in, then yeah, they're probably, not going to take this really tough 4-bet jam spot against you. They're maybe not going to make a hero call against you. So if you know that, then yeah, I might pick on that player a little more. I might size up against that player a little more and try to make their tournament life at risk. And sometimes the player knows that I'm going to do that against them, and it's a leveling game, and I'm betting bigger when I have it because I think they think that about me. So yeah, those are kind of some of the things going on in my head.
I think you hit it perfectly. You're always looking for people that, might be playing in over their head. There's ways to do that online. And, when you take it to the extreme of like the WSOP main event, that's why the bubble lasts for like 4 hours or longer, because people are so cherishing their tournament life. I will say that when you're playing live, people cherish their tournament life a lot more frequently than they do online. Online you can just register for another tournament and they can just go again. Where if you're playing live, you've gone to the casino, you've spent time, you're there for hours. People are going to cherish their life a lot more live. So when you see people committing their chips, they're going to be stronger than they are online generally. So just be aware you can't really abuse too much online unless you know that the person satellited in, it's a big tournament for them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like you can online because of exactly what you just said. I mean, it's the 600 Sunday event and $30 players are taking a stab at it. Like
in these events, yes, but I'm thinking like, if you're playing like your normal $11 Sunday tournament,
it's harder.
You're probably not going to be able to abuse any bubbles.
Yeah, definitely. And I like what you said about the live thing. That's super true because yeah, I mean, you fly all the way over here, you got a hotel, and it's your 1 week off. You get to come play, and you want that moment to last, right? I have a lot of my recreational friends who, they'll tell me hand histories and they'll be like, yeah, like I wanted to play. I've only played 3 hours. I wanted to play longer, so I folded, and I'm just like, but like I get it,
It's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. So I think it's important to take into account when you're picking on other players. And what's the defense for you if you're kind of a recreational or someone who doesn't get to play tournaments week in, week out? I think for me, I just try to have other stuff planned that I care about. I'm going to an event, and everyone's situation is different, right? But I'm going to an event, I have these things planned with some friends. I'm going to make this YouTube vlog. I have coaching lined up with some students that might or might not be able to do. I have these other tournaments. So I kind of have a lot of different things I'm looking forward to doing or just spending time on, or work I'm going to get done, so that if I get knocked out, it's like, okay, whatever, I get to go do these things. I get to go hang out with that friend now. So that way I never feel like I have all my eggs in this one basket. And that kind of helps me care a little less. So that's maybe something you could purposely kind of set that up for yourself so that you play a little more optimally. It could be a little hack for yourself. Ace King suited here. So here, I think your 3-bet sizing is a little small, Chris. A good thing to remember is our 3-bet sizing is, our 3-bet range is a little more linear from the small blind. We're going to be 3-betting stuff like Queen 10 suited, Ace Jack suited, And we're three betting that for different reasons. We're three betting it because we're just trying to kick out the big blind. We're trying to get heads up. Whereas from the big blind, we're just much more polarized. Like what would you say some of the other hands you would three bet here? Like what would your range look like here, maybe, Chris?
So against this player, my range of I'm pretty sure is going to be something along the lines of I'll do ace king, I'll do pocket sevens up through aces. I'll do some 6-7 suited. I'll do some 10-jack suited. And I'm going to balance that with calls. This same thing. I'm not going to raise every one of those, but I'll mix in some three bets with those type hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and then you could probably even mix in some more bluffs there. I'd say most people are really lacking on their bluffs here. So yeah, you could totally mix in a bunch more of those kind of suited hands you talked about. 8-10 suited, 9-jack suited, maybe some ace-x suited hands. Whereas you're kind of calling the middle hands that are too good to waste in case you get jammed on or something like that. Because of that, your range is really polar. And when your range is really polar, you can three bet bigger. Like you can go like 9 here. And then it's just like, all right, this guy has, the nuts, or he's, taking one of his kind of bottom calling hands and turning it into a bluff. Great flop. I like that you're using the pretty small c-bet size. Jack, open up, get 3-bet here. Yeah, this one, I don't like the call. King, queen off, ace, jack off from early position. First a 3-bet, we could just toss it. If we're a little bit later, I'm definitely fine calling it. This is a little bit short-handed, 1-2, so it's cut off hijack, low jack. I guess it's close. I'm thinking we're early position. We're kind of more middle position, so I think this is right on the border. One thing I will say is the shallower we are, the more likely we should be calling. And the deeper we are, the more likely we should be folding. Do you know why that is, Chris?
Well, I mean, if we're shallower, the stock to pocket ratio, if we hit a piece of the board, we can go with it. If we're too deep, we don't want to punt off 100 big blinds with one pair.
Exactly. Yep. So yeah. So the way we want to phrase that is the reverse implied odds are greater if we are deeper.
Yeah, but see, we're deep, but effective stack size we're under 40.
Defective stack is what I'm referring to. Yeah. I just checked a chart just to see kind of what the charts say, which charts can vary a little bit, but it shows that at 30 big blinds, it's mixing calling and folding, and at 50 big blinds, it's folding. So that kind of puts the point that we're kind of right in between both of those, right?
Probably erring more towards folding.
Yeah, we're gearing a little bit more towards folding. And yeah, it's just reverse implied odds are higher when we're deeper. We don't want to get stacked for a huge amount when we're dominated. Yep. It's a great flop. Yep, I like the check raise. I like the small sizing. Our hand needs a lot of protection, and we just kind of want to get the chips in now. Spades and overcard, queens and kings. Even 8, 9, 10 could be scary. So yeah, I like trying to get this in now while the getting's good. If you have any thoughts or questions or anything like we normally do, feel free to ask.
Yeah, I will for sure. I'm trying to watch you and also watch the chat sure. just in case that people ask questions. But these have been pretty much straightforward. So I mean, there'll be some that we'll get to that I'll definitely be asking more questions.
Yeah, we definitely got some fun hands later in the game. Some that
later on for the chat that you don't know if you weren't here. Faraz was sitting directly on my left and made one of the worst plays in poker against me. I actually understand why he did it now, but at the time I thought it was horrendous. And
I looked up the spot, and well, let's talk about it later. We'll save it for later. Yeah, I guess for those you don't have context, Chris came in 6th in this tournament, and I came in 5th. So we both made a deep run. We made it to the final table. So it was a pretty fun event, and he was streaming it as well. So definitely awesome. 3-bet here. I like the 3-bet here. We're pretty deep. I wouldn't mind going a little bit bigger than this, maybe 7-8. The goal here is we want to lower the SPR when we're out of position. We also don't want to play out of position 3-way. People really underestimate how crappy offsuit cards are out of position multi-way. So by 3-betting, we're kind of getting ourselves out of that situation.
Now,
Yeah.
just a question real fast for this one. So, I mean, normally I would if the big blind was sitting around 40 or 50 bigs, I'm going to make this 7 or 8. But the
Mhm.
fact that they're sitting at 28 bigs, I actually scaled it down a little bit because I'm essentially taking them out of the equation that they're going to they can't call. They're either going to shove or
Yeah.
fold. And if
Mhm.
they do call, then almost all the time it's going to be aces or kings,
Yeah.
something really powerful, I would imagine.
This is something I need to yell at you at for one of the hands on screens. No, we talked about this in one of our lessons. Absolutely no flatting, no cold calling three bets here.
I know I didn't say I would.
Okay, okay. Well, no, no, you had a hand, your tens hand. We'll talk about that later when it comes up. Um, I
Yeah,
might,
I told you I had a question about that hand. I know I made a
yeah.
mistake when I did it.
So we talked about that in actually our first lesson. Probably just slipped your mind for that spot. But yeah, in this and people and regardless of
And
what you
if it wasn't ICM considerations, well, I'll bring that up. But if it what, yeah, I know I made a mistake when I did it, and it was honestly it was a really up spot, and I still don't know what to do. So I can't wait till we get to that
yeah,
hand.
so first of all, I'm not even thinking about this guy flatting here. That's not really going in my head because
I know, but
sure,
that's why I actually shorts made it a little bit smaller because I don't think
yeah.
he's playing.
I,
So
I I just wouldn't put that into the equation so much because this guy's not jamming that often that we need to worry about kind of giving him a certain price. And he should technically never be flatting. Of course, people do sometimes, but it's pretty rare. So I'm just more concerned with making sure I'm giving the button the right price.
we
Um,
do have one question. It says, "How much better are suited Broadway cards versus the offsuit out of
how much
position?"
better are suited versus the offsuit? So
Out of position.
suited Broadways are definitely significantly better than offsuit, but it's more what you want to care about is what is the better way to play each hand, right? Sometimes when you're shallow, like let's say you're 30 big blinds, well, I don't want to three bet my king queen suited because at 30 big blinds I might get jammed on and then I can't call, or I don't want to put in that many chips. Something like ace 10 suited, I might not three bet at 30, 40 bigs because I don't want to get jammed on. Whereas the offsuit one, I don't mind wasting it. Now, let's make the stacks deeper. Let's say we're 60 big blinds deep, 100 big blinds deep. Well, no one's jamming 100 big blinds deep. So now I don't mind three betting the suited ones because it's not going to be a problem getting jammed on and wasting such a good hand. Chris, do you want to? I always like to kind of make people explain that in their own words just to kind of make sure like nothing's getting lost in translation. Do you want to kind of rephrase that?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, if as you get deep, as you're shallower, hands like ace 10 offsuit, they don't really play that well, so you don't mind three betting those. And if you get four bet jammed, you can just fold.
Yeah.
Anything that's basically on the smaller end of your calling range, you can feel free to three bet and not feel bad about folding because it's not really, I don't want to say wasted, but it's a hand that you don't mind folding. But a
Yeah.
hand like king queen suited, ace 10 suited, it plays really well. It plays better post flop, so you don't really want to waste the
Yeah.
equity that you have in that hand. So it's better to call and flat there and play,
Yeah.
rather than get four bet and have to fold ace 10 or king
And
queen
when you're
suited.
70 big blinds deep, you can three bet it because you're not wasting it. No one's jamming back on you 70 big blinds. Maybe they'll four bet and you could call. Most likely they're just flatting, but you're going to get to see those three cards. So you don't mind three betting those when you're deeper. So that's kind of an important thing to think about. Yeah. Here, yeah, I don't mind the check out of position, super deep here with second pair. I don't have a strong opinion on this one. I can go either way here. I think he definitely checks a bunch of ace X back, not wanting to get check raised. So we are betting into an ace sometimes. But that said, he does have so many hands like sevens, nines, tens, jacks, a pair that have a club with it that we could get some value out of. So
Now, I will say early on in our coaching sessions, this is one thing I was doing a lot of is I would C bet, or I would three bet here, and then I would C bet this flop
mhm,
out of position a lot,
yeah,
um, whether it be this board or any other board. And one of the things that you taught me is, don't be betting out of position so much. You can check back when you're out of position,
yeah,
and for several different reasons, but that's one that where the old Chris would C bet this flop, and
yeah.
then if I get called, I'm basically giving up. where, I think now as I've been playing more, like I'm more willing to fire 2 straights from the turn, just based on what we've talked about, 1, and 2, it gives me an idea of, what my opponent's range is a little bit better when I check.
So one
that.
thing you want to clarify there is, so what you basically said is you were c-betting too much out of position after raising. That's definitely way more prevalent when we raise and someone flats. When we 3-bet and we're out of position, we do get to keep c-betting a lot more, even though we're out of position. And it's just because our range is just so much stronger when we're coming in 3-betting.
Okay.
Normally, because when we raise, like, so just for the stream, there's a common saying, I think maybe Doyle Brunson might have coined it in Super System, that takes a better hand to call with than it does to raise with. So when we raise and someone flats in position, they actually have a stronger range than us. So that's why we want to be careful. Whereas in a 3-bet situation, the 3-better's range is strong, which is why we're still okay doing a lot of c-betting out of position in 3-bet pots. So yeah, make sure you don't check too much in 3-bet spots. That said, here we had second pair and there's 3 clubs out there. So yeah. I think your turn bet is reasonable. I can go either way here. I definitely see we're getting value. You're kind of setting your price. If we check, he might bet bigger with an ace. So yeah, I don't mind your play. I like it. This is pretty loose. Yeah, these small gapped hands don't play that great.
I knew I was going to barbecue on this one, but it's sort of player dependent on this one. I'm trying to play pots with Piggy. Okay,
that's fair enough. If you feel like there's someone you really want to get in pots with, I would say, but just to make sure, kind of, that's a very like exceptional thing, and that like 90% of the time you want to be folding this. And I'll just kind of elaborate on that for the chat as well. There's a big difference between connected hands and gapped hands. 7-6 suited to 5-6 suited, there's one less straight. You make another gap, 8-5 suited, there's a less straight, right? All the way until you get to something like 3-7 suited, where there's only one possible straight. If you enjoyed this video and want to see the full session, it's actually an hour and a half of footage, some really awesome stuff. We made it all the way down to the final table, so a bunch of really interesting ICM concepts that are going to come up towards the end. If you want to see the full thing, check out the details in the description of the video. You'll also find some info on how you can be a part of future coaching sessions like this, either as the student getting coached or one of the students in the crowd asking questions in the chat. So hope to see you at the next one.